Welcome to comics, I guess, to French comics. So I picked these up, I dare to say a year ago, maybe. Yeah, that's it. 3 years ago, just 2022. So now it's been 3 years. This is a treat. This is the Métal Hurlant. And we've got a collection of maybe reprints because this was published originally, I think, in the 70s. I mean, it was published in the 70s, and then it was published again in the 80s, translated as what we know very well as the heavy metal magazine that the National Lampoon was printing back then in the late 70s, early 80s. So all of this work is in English. Obviously, this is all in French, but I went and dived into this due to the fact that it's got really good reprints of things, and it's also in a very exotic dimension. This is a little bit on the size of a comic book, I guess. So I don't have anything to compare right now with. Or maybe I do. So this is comic book size. You can sort of now see the specs. I mean, this is like Marvel comics, but anyway, now you can sort of see the comparison on the dimensions of things. So let's take a look at this. So one of the reasons why I purchased this was because it's got the short story that Dan O'Bannon wrote for the Métal Hurlant, and then got also printed on the Heavy Metal magazine, which is the Long Tomorrow. Now this story is it's got all the cyberpunk elements that got later on made as a film in Blade Runner. So this has got a lot of those ideas. And obviously, Giraud, Meobius, was the one who did the artwork. In French, they call it design. But anyway, yes, this is like absolutely awesome to take a look at. Just on the light, sorry. But I want to share these because this is like absolutely magnificent work. They've printed this on this really nice sort of matte paper, but you can sort of see this is like a long format sort of printing. So this is very, very good. Good reproduction. So if you enjoy the art alone and I don't really care much about what you're going to be reading about, this is something to go for. It's very hard to get, I guess, in English now because I don't think we have had licenses and all of that sort of thing. It's not gone back and forward. It's very expensive, apparently, to get the licenses from Jean Giraud. But who knows? Maybe one day they will be publishing these things in English. Who knows? But I bought this 2 years ago, and I guess it was out of necessity because I couldn't get it in English. But this is a treat. So all the ideas from his imagination to depict what science fiction, what the future is going to be, this is all being done in so many films. Like Luc Besson was the one who directed The Fifth Element, and on that he employed this city landscape where it's layers and layers and layers of buildings, and also you see that on Blade Runner. You see it on Star Wars had it on, like, and then Star Wars, like from the 90s, like episode 1, 2, and 3. George Lucas showed that as well. So all of this is later on being imitated for or made homage by all of these other creators. So Meobius is being always the influence. So it's all done in pen and ink, and then he was probably using markers to sort of color these. Maybe he was using those alcohol-based markers. So that's how the coloring has been done on this. So this is all very, very quick executed, done very quickly. So yeah, this is the article that goes on length about how they started collaborating, and they met. I think I mentioned this before in the set of Dune by Alejandro Jodorowsky, and Dan O'Bannon, because Dan O'Bannon was part of that production of that film, and Jean Giraud was the storyboard artist, conceptual designer for the character designs and costumes, and also up the art direction for the film Dune, Jodorowsky's Dune. That's all in the documentary. If you haven't seen it, please do yourself a favor and go watch it. I mentioned that before, but yeah. The artwork of this is superb. The way that he's doing this is all very clean, and again, it looks like something out of like The Fifth Element, because it's cars that are flying around. This character, he's just sort of, I can't remember if he's a detective or, yeah, I think he's a detective. So this is kind of like film noir sort of thing, which is what Blade Runner was, what Cyberpunk. Those are the tropes for that. But look at all of the detail that this man is applying onto a panel. That cyberpunk aesthetic, he's created that at that busy city with like amalgamation of cultures, of people going back and forth. All of that he has put in and projected onto these panels, which is quite cool. Again, and I'm going to get into the detail of the story, but you can sort of see that he can get into a scuffle. This guy's coming in with 4 arms. He wants to like have a go at him, and he just kicks him and defeats him. And he goes. Jean Giraud had a good sense of humor, and he applies that onto his narrative and the way that he's sort of telling the story. Again, he's using pen. I'm very sure he's using rapidograph on these because they're very thin, and you need to do that when you're doing very quick. But he's also using markers, so you can sort of get these pens. You can get different nibs, like the tips of these pens like coming in like 0.5, 0.7, 0.8, so on and so forth, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, very thin to very thick, so you can sort of achieve these sort of lines. But the coloring as well, I mean, this is so cool. I would like to compare this to the Heavy Metal magazine, but I don't know if I have it, and if I do, it's buried somewhere in a closet somewhere. So I would have to sort of dig that out. We'll have to go dig it out. Maybe we'll take a look at it next time. Maybe I'll do a comparison. So yeah, he's a detective. He's doing his detective sort of thing. He's going around. And most of the time he's got like, what do you call it? So sort of chasing a clue. So yeah. Very, very cool. The colors are so bright. So this was done in 2 parts. So the way that the Heavy Metal and Métal Hurlant operated was that they were going to print like the magazine, and then the following issue, the second part of a story, or maybe it was done in fragmented in 3 parts. So this is Jean Giraud sort of like breaking it down. Obviously he's following the narrative of Dan O'Bannon, and Dan was a talented man too. So this is him following up whatever clues that he's following up, and gets in a scuffle. He's in a landing in like an airport, spaceport, some sort. Look at that. Look at the detail that he achieves. The expression of the characters, and also it's very stylized. That's another element. This is very stylized, and but he's got sound knowledge of anatomy, because the bodies are doing the moving. They're not just very contrived or very rigid. This is very fluid. It's got almost like he's capturing movement. That's what I'm trying to say, and he's doing it really well. He's executing these extremely well, and the coloring is just masterclass as well. So typical detective gets into, what do you call it, the damsel in distress, and it turns out it's like an alien. I'm gonna pass this quick because you know why. So this is very cool. So he disposes of the alien. Guess I know about his business. And these are sketch conceptuals, but by the Dan could draw. So there you go. That's Dan doing his sketch. So this issue also has Druillet. So this is very cool. The Humanoids Association. Okay. So that's the first cover of the Screaming Metal. That's what Métal Hurlant means. It's screaming metal. And Meobius is doing this alien entity of sorts. So that's the first cover. This is really good graphic design, because they managed to track down the cover and then just photograph it. Very good. These are the other covers by Meobius again, obviously. But they had their American, what do you call it, people publishing on their magazines, and that's Richard Corben. So we're going to take a look at Corben soon enough. But just a touching, I'm pointing out things. Jean-Pierre Dionnet, he's like the, dare to say he's like the editor, maybe orchestrating all the work. Yeah, the Fool. This is Meobius, beautifully executed. Look at this drawing. It's the amount of detail. Look at the amount of detail. Beautifully done. That's the man himself. That's Giraud Meobius. And that's Philippe Druillet. Druillet is, I mean, these two guys are heavyweights in the French European market. This, not many people have come out after them that with the stuff that these guys did. Druillet's still with us, and he's still publishing things. We'll go take a look at some of his work. We're gonna go look at it in this and just jumping ahead, but yeah, that's in his studio somewhere in Paris. Here's other artists and publishers. Giraud, the Association of the Humanoids. It might have been one of their early logos. See, it's all science fiction. These dudes are like really heavy into science fiction. And Jean Giraud came from westerns. He was doing westerns. What do you call it? Comics. The Sergeant Blueberry. Yeah, this is Caza. Caza, he's exceptional artist, and this is all black and white. I mean, my goodness, this is so good. This is so good. the character design. Again, very stylized. Bizarre science fiction stories. All the designs of the monsters and everything else. This bird somewhere in outer space. What were they smoking when they did this? Good old tobacco. But, I mean, this is Nicolette. Okay, so this is Jean-Michel Nicolette. This is the artwork. This is like heavily rendered. I mean, it's just rendering this. It's just painting. My goodness. And this is a comic. This is a French comic. Amazing work. Just amazing. All the labor that he's implemented onto this. So this is Nicolette Caza's cover art. Beautifully done. Don't know this guy, but it's nice. Okay, so this is Chantal Montelion. I apologize, my French is a bit rusty. For the French audience. Don't know, Crispin. Nicely done. It's using reference. It's ink. Very quick. Beautifully drawn. Well drafted. It's a little too busy for my liking, but it's really well executed. It's just doing that. Don't know this guy. Nice color scheme. Good contrast. Yeah, this was printed on the heavy metals. I remember seeing these in those publications. Aha. Okay. So when you talk heavy metal, and you talk screaming metal and la Métal Hurlant and science fiction, this also time to talk about Enki Bilal. He's a filmmaker now. He's a designer. He's a comic book artist. He's a man of many talents. He's a true talented man, and this is some of his work. I think I might have seen this in color. Again, he's French. Well, not exactly. I can't remember where he's from, but he's. I think he's got a Eastern European background, but he's lived all his life in France, and he's one of the French well-renowned artists of his generation as well. Look at all this. It looks like an engraving, and he's done it all in pen. I think he works at a bigger scale. All of these guys work at a bigger scale. So that was a short story. Cautionary tale: don't take off your shell, you'll die. We'll go back to that eventually, but yeah. Mark Caro. So yeah, okay. So okay. This has a very punk aesthetic. So yeah, Jean-Claude Gall. he did a lot of the stuff for that elf series. I can't remember. This is great work. This is bizarre fantasy science fiction. This was published on the heavy metal. I'm cold seeing this. Beautifully rendered. It's kind of like a throwback to Clockwork Orange. Just like criminals. These are the criminals. All that counterculture materials. So it's got violence. All the taboo sort of topics with science fiction as well, and embedded into the whole thing. It's insane artwork. I wonder what painting he's reproducing. Looks something out of Rembrandt. But again, these guys are going to town. I mean, oh my goodness, the amount of detail, the amount of production for these. I mean, it's typical European comics. Angus, okay, he's English. This is an English dude. McKee. Sorry, Angus. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. Yeah. Well done, sir. Well done. What's this? Alias. The end of the line. Don't know these, dude. This is beautifully done. Looks like something out of Valerian. Jean-Claude Mizet. Maybe it's the Valerian guy. I need to jolt my brain. So much information in comics. Wow. Wow. This is amazing work. Operation Omega. Dennis Siri. I like the character designs of this guy. This is good. This is good stuff. The style is cartoony, but very cool. Very cool. Paul Guillon, or Guillon, one of the two. Maybe Spanish. There's a lot of Spanish artists and Italian and English, obviously. Oh wow, Robert Crumb. Okay, 86. So they published Robert Crumb. That's great. So this is Jesus Christ. All right, so this is the religious experience of Philip K. Dick. That's Philip K. Dick, the master writer or creator of Blade Runner, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. So in a nutshell, Robert Crumb comes in, and Robert Crumb, again, another master of his own medium. He comes in and does this short story about what Philip K. Dick experienced in real life. This actually happened to K. Dick, right? So I'm just gonna articulate on this. I'm gonna just elaborate on this. I'm gonna talk. So one day he's just like having I guess a moment of deja vu or something, like, he's remembering things, but he's not aware of it. By the way, Philip K. Dick was a well-known, he consumed a lot of chemical, he consumed drugs, okay? So I'm not going to get into the details of it, but the man had an episode. But this moment, he was sober, apparently, and this woman comes in and tells him, comes in, and this beam, this Jesus Christ fish for Christians, right? Beams him on the head, and that kind of makes him travel in time and memories that he's living as a Jew, a Jewish person in Israel sometime in the past, right? And there's another thing that happens, is that he on that psychedelic trip, he gets knowledge of that his son, it's not well. This is all drawn here. That's his son. And what ends up happening is that he gets some sort of vision that he's not well, and he has to take him to the hospital. He's not even, because he's a toddler, they don't know, him and his wife. And he takes him to the hospital, and it turns out that it's true that this kid had a problem that could have killed him. And that all of this is happening because he had that moment, that encounter with that beam of light that hit him from the fish, from this Christian, symbol. And this is all madness, right? So Robert Crumb, in the end, ended up doing this adaptation of this short story. But Philip kept on having also dreams about the past of when he's in Israel and in the Middle East. It's just bizarre stuff. But that's what this short story is, and this was published in Weirdo magazine. And again, that's another thing that's hard to track these days. I have not really seen any publications. You would have to go to eBay and just sort of track it down. So this was a treat for me to get this by accident, but that's what this story was about. So, and Robert Crumb oh my God, he just does it so well. It's just so good. This is so good. This is what Robert Crumb's good at. Good cartooning, but you can tell it's Philip K. Dick. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Apologies for the manic rambling, but that's so exciting as well. I don't know this guy, and this was in color because published this in black and white. Okay, so these are more covers. What? This is a book. Okay, that's famous heavy metal magazine cover, as well as Métal Hurlant. Caza. Bilal. This is so cool. This is so cool. So Rolf, they did a publication in French of Roll, and all this is Richard Corben. Richard Corben's Dan. Druillet. Okay. Philippe Druillet. He cannot describe this with words. You have to see it. You have to experience it like we are right now. This is Druillet's work. Big scale drawings. Amazing stuff. Science fiction worlds of esoteric nature in outer space. Every panel could be a poster, you know. Amazing work. Just amazing panels of work. Just amazing. Science fiction, borderline of horror and fantasy. So there it is. This is quite the book, the Métal Hurlant #2. Anyway, thank you for your time. Until next time, please like and subscribe.